Hey everyone, this is April Toro with Hearth and Haven Homes here in Woodstock, Georgia, and I am so excited about today's topic. I recently helped some friends of mine purchase a home that was being sold by the owner, and it was clear as we've been along in the process that he wasn't really sure what he was doing. Thankfully, I was patient and I guided him through the process. I really wanted to help my clients get into the home, but he made some pretty fatal mistakes along the way. We wound up getting like $30,000 off of the house, which was great for my client, but not so good for the owner. So I wanted to just share some tips and tricks if you are thinking of selling your home yourself. So number one, and I'm making it number one because I think it's the most important, is pricing your home correctly. So you definitely don't want to underprice your home and leave money on the table, but you also don't want to overprice your home either. Some sellers think it's a good strategy to start high and negotiate down if they need to, but the reality of the situation is it's not just you against the buyer, it's you against competing homes that are on the market. So if your home is $20,000 overpriced, buyers are just gonna go to the other homes that are on the market that are priced correctly. So pricing is crucial. You want to price your home at market value, sometimes slightly above, sometimes slightly below, depending on where the market's at, but you want it to be as close to market value as possible. So realtors, we have a special skill set to price property, but if you're deciding to not work with a realtor, I strongly advise that you hire an appraiser to come out and take a look at your home and estimate what they think your home is worth. That's gonna be your best bet. I definitely don't recommend getting the Zestimate for your home and using that for pricing. No one from Zillow has ever personally come into a home and looked at the upgrades and looked at the yard and kind of looked at the specific features of that home. So that is just a random number formulated by algorithms on a computer from someone that's never seen your home. So never, ever, ever use the Zestimate to price your property. But I would recommend hiring a licensed, certified appraiser to come out and give you the value of your home. Okay, so the second step that I have, if you're selling your home by yourself without an agent, is to at least hire a professional photographer. Do not take photos with your cell phone. So I believe in this so much that on all of my listings, I include professional photography at no additional charge, regardless of the price point, because I think it's so important. You have to remember that buyers are searching online for homes, and so they're seeing house after house with beautiful photos, great angles, great lighting. So when they get to a home where the pictures were taken with a cell phone or the pictures are cut off, they say, this home doesn't look as nice as the other ones. And it could be a perfectly beautiful home, but it's not presenting well in the photos. Because a majority of buyers find homes online, if you are not standing out online in your photos, they're just gonna swipe to the next home. So it is very important that you don't skip that step and hire a professional photographer. So the third tip that I have for you whenever you are listing your home without a realtor is to make sure that your promotion is on point for your property. So you don't want to just passively promote your property, but you want to actively promote it as well. So I'll tell you the difference between the two. So passive promotion means putting a sign in the yard, putting it on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia.com, and praying that it sells. So you want to do a lot more than that. So as realtors, what we do, good realtors, after you list a home is you don't just put a sign in the yard and hope that somebody comes along. You actively promote the property. So I have a database of about 10,000 buyers that I reach out to who are actively looking for homes in the area. I shoot the listing to them. I have a network of agents that I know in the area. I shoot the listing out to them. I have the ability to see what buyers are searching on the MLS for what homes, and I can specifically find buyers who are searching for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom in Woodstock specifically, and shoot the listing out to them and to their agents as well. So there's different things as realtors that we do. What that would look like for a for sale by owner is reach out to your network. If you're friends with any agents, if you have any friends in the area that also have friends who are looking to buy, just put it in the Facebook marketplace, put it in the yard sale groups, just post the listing everywhere you can. So the fourth tip that I have, if you are thinking of selling your home on your own, is know your contracts, know the legalities of it. So as realtors, we have access to real estate contracts that were written by attorneys that protect both the buyer and the seller in the transaction. So if you're not working with a realtor, then you don't have access to these forms. I highly recommend that you contact a real estate attorney to draft everything up for you. This is one of the biggest investments that you'll ever make in your life. It's one of the biggest assets that you'll ever sell. It's a big deal. It should be treated as such. Do not go and Google real estate contract and use that. That's crazy. It's one of the biggest investments, like I said, that you'll ever make in your entire life. Just make sure that you are protected 100%. Another thing I want to mention about contracts and legalities is it's definitely helpful if you have some sort of legal background and you're very familiar with contracts, especially if it's real estate contracts, or if you have a background in real estate in general. So if you've owned investment properties or if you've flipped properties before, that is definitely helpful. So if you don't know what a material fact is, what constitutes as a fixture, what to do if a VA appraiser invokes tidewater, what to do if your property burns to the ground 3 days before closing, and what your responsibility is to the buyer at that time, you probably shouldn't be selling your house on your own. If you don't know the difference between the different loan programs, FHA loan program, conventional, USDA, VA, if you don't know the difference between those loan programs, the pros of each, the cons of each, you probably shouldn't be selling your house on your own. If you know what all of that means, you're familiar with all the different loan programs, you have some sort of background that kind of helps you with that, that's great. I would still hire a real estate attorney just to draft up the paperwork so that your contract is clean, it's reviewed by an attorney, and you are protected. So my fifth tip for anyone looking to sell their house on their own is to make sure that you protect yourself. Selling your home on your own without representation can feel like a vulnerable place to be in, but you just want to do everything you can to make sure that you are protected during that process. So the first tip that I have is to make sure that any buyer who is coming through your house, any person who's coming through your house, has been pre-approved prior to walking in your door. Accommodating showings can be very daunting. It can be very difficult, especially if you have pets or children at home. Showings can happen at all different times. So you want to make sure that before you're kind of rearranging your life and rushing out the door and getting things ready for a showing, that you're only doing that for buyers who have been pre-approved. So I recommend that you request a copy of a pre-approval letter prior to showing your home to a buyer, and even take that extra step to reach out to their lender and ask some questions. Have you received documentation from this buyer? Do you have copies of their tax returns yet? Do you have copies of their paycheck stubs yet? So just dig a little bit deeper from that lender before you're opening your home and rearranging your schedule for buyers who may not even be able to afford to buy your home. So my sixth tip is something that is very, very important that a lot of people who are selling their home on their own don't think about, and that is buyer agent commission. So a lot of times when people are selling their home on their own, they think they can cut out commissions completely, not pay an agent to help them sell their home, not pay an agent who's bringing a buyer. But the reality of the situation is that most buyers who are searching for homes are working with a realtor. And most of those buyers have signed a contract with their agent stating that if the seller doesn't pay for the buyer's agent commission, that commission will come right out of the buyer's pocket. And this is fair because a lot of agents work for months, sometimes years, with the same buyer, going and showing houses and spending time and spending gas money. So it's only fair that they be compensated for their time. That being said, if you have two homes that are similar in features, similar in price, and in one case the buyer has to pay the agent's commission out of pocket, in the other hand the commission is being paid for by the seller, the buyer is going to go with that other house most of the time. Most buyers do not want to come out of pocket for the commission. They're already having to pay a lot of their closing costs and down payment. So if you decide not to pay a buyer's agent commission, you will lose a massive pool of buyers that are looking for homes. So I definitely recommend that you agree to pay the buyer agent commission, even if you're trying to save on the sell side. And the last tip that I have for you, if you're looking to sell your home on your own, is to treat it like a full-time job. Real estate is my full-time job and many other agents' full-time job. And during the time that you are selling your house, it's gotta be your full-time job too. So make sure that you're always available, that you're answering your phone, that you're accommodating showings, I know it can be really inconvenient for you to rush home from work to show a buyer a home. Sometimes showings can take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, but it's really important that you are available for all of that. Buyers are very finicky. They have a lot of different choices for homes on the market, and if you're not answering your phone and you can't accommodate their showings, they're just going to move on to the next one. So during this period, just treat it like a full-time job and make sure that you are available. So those are my tips if you're looking to sell your home on your own. I definitely would bring in some other people to help you, an appraiser, a professional photographer, a professional stager, someone who has a background in sales and marketing would be helpful, somebody to help you with your contracts, or you could just hire a realtor. All of those services are typically included whenever you sign a contract with a realtor. I know that they're included with my listings. And I would love to help you. The way that I like to explain this to people is it's similar to waiting to hire an accountant because you want to you want to save on the fees. So I know a lot of people who have done their own accounting for years because they did not want to pay a professional accountant to help them with their taxes. And when they finally gave in and hired a professional accountant, not only did they save all of the frustration, but they actually wound up saving more money than what the accountant cost them in the first place. And I've seen that a lot of times with real estate transactions as well. So if you are thinking of selling your home and you decide to hire a professional, I would love to help you with that. If you do decide to sell your home on your own, I hope that these tips have been helpful for you, and I will see you next time.